Welcome everybody, welcome to this old game, where we play and talk about games. Old games, or more preferably referred to as retro. Today, we are taking a look at King's Quest, specifically King's Quest 1. While we could easily spend hours talking about the series as a whole, instead the focus of this video is going to be the game that started it all. King's Quest 1, an adventure game developed by Sierra Online in 1984, was originally published for the IBM PC Junior and would effectively change the face of adventure gaming forever. And for the majority of this video, we will be seeing the fan remake of King's Quest because, as someone who played the game in its original form, this is just cool. The look of it, the feel of it, the sounds, the voice acting.
To reconsider the wisdom of returning to King Edward.
Yeah, well, maybe not the voice acting, but still, it's just cool. The game was originally titled simply as King's Quest. It wasn't until 1987 when the game was re-released and the subtitle Quest for the Crown was adopted. King's Quest is also the first time we meet the hero of the story, Sir Graham of the Kingdom of Daventry. I can still remember the days as a kid, hanging out at the computer repair shop my family owned, learning about computers for the first time, and playing some of the best games I would ever play. And King's Quest was among those early games. The moment I started up King's Quest, I was immediately hooked. Even though, thinking about it now, I don't think I actually finished the game. I know, criminal. May have to do a playthrough, or maybe a live stream or something. Just finish what I started all those years ago. I don't know. Anyways, playing this game for the first time as a kid just blew my mind. Sure, it looks quite dated by today's standards, but back then, it was the first time stepping into a fantasy world like this, and I absolutely loved it. King's Quest was the first adventure game to integrate animation into the player's game world. It was like the moment video games discovered depth perception. Holy crap, the ability to walk in front or behind the environment had never been seen before. Most games of this type during this time consisted of static scenery, relying only on text commands to steer the plot. While King's Quest also implemented a text command system, at least in the early games of the series, they eventually adopted the more popular point-and-click form of adventure games, more seen in games like Monkey Island and Loom. It also allowed you to freely roam the world as you wished. Want to check what's behind that stump? Walk over and check it out. Want to talk to that NPC? Walk over and start up a convo. Want to see what happens if you fall in the moat filled with ferocious predators within seconds of starting the game? Yeah, you can literally die within seconds of starting the game. And dying is something you will do. A lot of. Not only in the first game of the series, but it is something that the series as a whole is known for. So never before has the old adage been more applicable. Save early, save often. The story is as simple as they come. The kingdom is suffering from recent bad juju, the hardships and yada yada yada, and the king, King Edward, calls forth his bravest knight, the aforementioned Sir Graham. After laying in an earful of woe, the king imparts Graham with the quest to recover 3 legendary treasures hidden throughout Daventry, that if recovered could end all the troubles of the land. And on top of that, if Graham succeeds, he'll be crowned the king of Daventry. You know, stuff like that. Sounds like something I could get behind. King's Quest saw several ports to systems such as the Amiga and the Atari ST, as well as a re-release to the one and only DOS, which is the version I am most familiar with as it is the one I played as a kid. Although King's Quest 1 is not the first in the series I played, in fact, it was the 5th installment, Absence Makes the Heart Go Yonder, that introduced my younger self to the wonder and the splendor of King's Quest. But we will talk about that game in another video. Right now, it's all about that DOS, no floppy. Sorry, where was I? Right. The DOS version of King's Quest I, however, did lack some of the sound effects present in other versions of the game, such as birds chirping and other immersion type sounds, but it did add some musical cues from the sequel, King's Quest II, including Greensleeves, replacing the original title screen music. Hard to believe that IBM doled out roughly $850,000 in development costs. Interesting enough, the game was not ported to the Commodore 64 despite it being one of the most important gaming platforms. Roberta Williams, designer and writer for the game, may have heard of her, said that the limitations of its graphics system did not permit Sierra to get the level of graphics detail they wanted. In addition, the computer's 64K of memory was just too small to fit the complex AGI engine into. Sorry, Commodore 64 owners. Too bad, so sad. Without a doubt, King's Quest I, King's Quest, Quest for the Crown, whatever you want to call it, is one of the best adventure games ever created. When I see it or play it, I am instantly taken back to my childhood. Every element in this game is a breakthrough for its time. It is here that gamers are introduced to the notion of a graphic adventure. The graphics may be old-fashioned compared to today's titles, but if you want to experience the origin of adventure games, then you owe it to yourself to play this game. I can't stress that enough. I think every devoted adventure fan should experience the joy of playing this game, since it is the game that literally heralded in the golden age of adventure gaming. And that concludes this episode of This Old Game. I hope you enjoyed this look back into one of gaming's most important titles ever to grace PC screens. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, you've been awesome. Let's play again soon. I'll see you all in the next video.
The Moat Monsters appreciate your good taste.
If you enjoyed this video, I'd like to invite you to check out my other videos, and do please consider subscribing. There is much more where this came from. And if you have any games from your childhood that may be considered retro or old and would like to see me do a video on them, let me know also in the comments down below.